of Gerontology and Social Policy at the University of Southampton as well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on. What actions do the UK government do to actually ensure the care for our elderly?
Yeah, so I think it was, first of all, it was a pleasure to hear my colleague, Dr. Rosalind Willis, from the same department, because a lot of the care needs are associated with people that live with dementia. Our government is providing care in a devolved way. So local associations and local government are responsible for providing social care to older people in this country, and it's done slightly differently in each of the country in the United Kingdom. So, for example, in England, there is greater means testing in order to access care. So the government has to assess an individual's and household's income and wealth before they can access social care. So care is one element, but of course financial support is another through benefits in the pension. And there may be other ways, for example, by organizing community-level initiatives which facilitate older persons to continue being networked within their own community.
So when we talk about this and what the government is doing, what should be the main priorities then when making different policies?
That's a difficult question because over the last 10 to 15 years or so, there have been cuts in the finances in social care. So what we have seen is a concentration of care on those who need it the most, which is reasonable, but it also means that a lot of people who have some social care need don't have access to it. So I think the first priority should be investing more in the provision of social care, for sure. And then a second priority, in my view, is making sure that the views of older people themselves are heard, because every generation of older people is different. They may have different preferences in terms of who they want to care for them, where they want to be, how open they are to technology being used for their care. So I think we are very different to our grandparents, and our grandparents are very different to other generations. So I think it's very important that the voice of older people is not lost in this debate.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's a good point that you raised there as well. So what problems do elderly people face when they're actually trying to access care? And there are any sort of classes or something like that which can actually talk about this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we do know, first of all, there's a north-south divide in our country. So in northern parts of the country, generally speaking, are less well-financed, and there's greater difficulty in accessing social care services to southern parts. That's an overgeneralization, but there is evidence to show that. And we know that there are difficulties according to individuals' socioeconomic class that very often interacts with their ethnicity. So we know that there is evidence of minority ethnic groups having lower financial resources. They also have difficulty accessing social care in terms of for linguistic or cultural reasons. So there are access issues which are making it difficult for older persons to access social care. And I think in this context, having champions to demonstrate the need when it is being assessed at the local authority level is really important for older people.
And that is good that you mentioned that as well. As in the UK, is the UK population becoming more concentrated with elderly people, do you think? And how can the UK government sort of prioritize the best care for the elderly?
So I think we live in very interesting times because the UK is experiencing two things that are happening at the same time. One is we are aging over time, but we're also becoming more ethnically diverse. So you have more people from minority ethnic communities reaching later life. So it's definitely aging, and we are seeing projections of the population show that. So at the moment, we know about 1 in 5 people in this country is defined as an older person, and that's expected to increase to 1 in 4 soon. And I think that presents challenges for policymakers because it means that more resources have to be dedicated to the needs, whether it is health needs, financial needs, of that increasing older population.
Just one last question I had was that, these the policies that are made, especially for the elderly, how often are they scrapped? Or are they not scrapped at all?
Scrapped, that's a very good question, because we also have what is called a political cycle. So when a new government comes in, they very often want to make their mark, and they want to make sure that their policies and ideologies are reflected in what they do. I think scrapping is probably too strong a word, but there's definitely adjustments made in policies. For example, one thing that has happened to help the income of older persons is the triple lock system, which ensures that the value of the state pension is maintained at a reasonable level. So that hasn't been scrapped by different governments, but there are other areas where every successive government that comes in, they make changes that reflect their own ideology.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us today and contributing, and I'm pretty sure our listeners had a lot of benefit from your answers.